I like doing sports. I would have just preferred, hanging out in the house, watching Twilight Zone and reading science fiction. If you're a little bit too much in tune with how the world works at an early age, it does sort of ruin you for a certain kind of social normalcy. In terms of, I think in terms of the writing life, it's a good preparation for seeing yourself as a part and observing the culture. And that feeling of apartness can give you a certain kind of distance to talk about how people live. There were books in high school like Crime and Punishment or Pride and Prejudice, Tale of Two Cities that I think showed me a path. But it really was maybe in college, second semester taking a class on the modernists and, as you're saying, T.S. Eliot and Ezra Pound. I took a class on postmodern drama, and that was Genet and Beckett, UNESCO. And so I saw a link between the fantasy fiction that I enjoyed when I was younger and writers who use the fantastic, Garcia Marquez, Beckett, his sort of blasted landscapes. They took a fabulist approach to realism, and I think that's more or less there in a lot of my books, where I take a small corner of the world and blow it up to absurdity. Yeah, I mean, I thought of myself as a writer, but I didn't actually do anything in college. I wrote 2 5-page stories and tried to audition for creative writing classes. You had to apply. I never got in. So I wasn't really, up to snuff. It wasn't until I got out of college and started working at the Village Voice, and I became a critic. I worked in the book section, and I started writing, an article a week. That I learned how to write, how to, produce on deadline, sit down for 5 hours. And that gave me the discipline when I started trying to do fiction on my own to have a lot of good work habits. The only way it's going to get done, your 900 words, is if you actually sit down and do it. And that way you can keep the electricity on and you can buy beer and cigarettes. So I learned how to, I learned the discipline of being a writer. I know that when I start a book, I have ideas of what the book is, and then it changes over the year, 2 years, and as the investigation continues, and what I set out to do is not necessarily what I learned or what I thought I was looking for turned out to be something different. So, in each book there's, the process of me trying to figure out the world and certain kind of systems, and sometimes it's the teenage social codes in Sag Harbor. In The Intuitionist, maybe it's technology and how cities evolve and how we as citizens are forced to confront that. In John Henry Day's pop culture and the various facets of the information age. So I know that I'm always looking for something, and when I'm done, when I get to that last page, there is a sense of relief because I have become a little bit smarter about the world, or in trying to articulate this thing on the page for other people, I've articulated it to myself. You have to keep doing it, and you can only get better, I think. But the books aren't going to write themselves, and so you really have to find that horrible thing in yourself that's going to make you sit down for 6 hours, a couple days a week, and get that book out. Whenever I slow down or have a very sort of slow day, I think, well, I'm just 1 paragraph closer, and if I can do another paragraph tomorrow and the day after that, maybe that's a page. 1 page closer. You just do the best you can with who you are at the time you're writing the book, and I try to keep my panic to like 4:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. when I wake up in a sweat, and then pad off and turn on the early news and fall back asleep. So if you keep it compartmentalized and your mind clear so you have writing time, and to be nice to your friends and family, I think that's a good way to do it.